India is a democratic country and we practice secularism under the fundamental rights in Articles 25 to 28. Every citizen is guaranteed right to freedom religion and Articles 14 to 18 guarantee right to equality. So, what would you like to say about the recent declared banning of religious poster or slogans on church vehicle under the Central Motor Vehicles Act?
Well, it's a very recent news, and I think we all have been reading about this, flashing out in our phones and newspapers lately. And this whole reason behind the enactment of this Motor Vehicle Act of 1988, right? The whole reason behind this enactment was to check on, licensing, road safety, registrations, insurances of the cars and the vehicles. So basically, the act that was enacted, implemented in India, was mainly to check on all that. Transport, is it a commercial transport, or is it a public transport, or is it a private transport? Road safety, like I said, if you are wearing a helmet or not, or if it is emitting a lot of carbon monoxide or dioxide or not, no pollution. Yeah. So it was primarily based on that the act was enacted. In fact, the act was amended again. It was modified in 2019 also. And when the Motor Vehicle Act was amended in 2019, the reason was same only. It was just enhance the road safety. In fact, in 2019, accidental insurance were also further, leveled up. So the whole concept of banning religious stickers, markings, or slogans, of course, it is there in a very small provision. And that provision falls under clause 96.2 and clause section 111.2. But it is a very small, trivial provision which lies in the hands of the state government again. And the power is, if you want to check on stickers, logos, and all that, okay? So it's a very small provisions. And, if you look at the whole of India, since it's a little interesting topic, I'm diving it a little deep. If you look at the whole of India, 1, 2, 3 states have actually come up with this kind of notifications where caste space or religious space slogans and markings have been banned. Like for example, in 2022 or 21, this notification was out in Haryana also. Okay. And it was out in Punjab also, Uttar Pradesh also, where caste-based markings and logos and religious base were banned. But the reason behind why this was banned by the state was because if you look at Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, these are states where there is a heavily concentrated caste-based people, right? India, by and large, is a very caste-oriented nation. And so it was affecting law and order problem. Like for example, between the Hindus and the Muslims, between certain castes, if you are putting up a very big, slogan, it would create animosity between these people. And it was creating a law and order problem. But in the case of Nagaland, if you look at it, Nagaland is a Christian state. 90% of the population in Nagaland is Christian. And it is a Baptist-dominated state. It is the largest Baptist state in the world. If you can name me any instances where, because the car had a Bible verse, people fought or people killed each other, if you can name any instances, I'm sure you will not have any stories like this, no? Just because a pastor was driving a car written, Sangam Baptist Church pastor, people came and attacked him on religious reasons. That has never happened. Yeah. This kind of things have never happened in Nagaland, where it was a difficult situation where it would bring in law and order problem. So that has never happened. So the whole point behind the government of Nagaland, state transport department bringing out notifications saying not to put up slogans and markings. In the church perspective, I'm saying, I think it is very irrelevant and little unnecessary also. And one thing that amuses me is, it lies in the hands of the state government to come up with such laws. The central government has given the power to the state government to come up with those provisions. And so I still wonder why the state government had to go to that extent, and touching and hurting the sentiments of the people here. Yeah.
Some people advocate that in social media platform or even in the gatherings in church, something like that. Some advocate that it's because of this political party like PJB. Some advocate that it's because of PJB alliance that we have a Nagaland government. Because of that, this PJB is trying to ban this vehicle stickers,
Yes,
slogans,
yes.
etc. So, do you think it's because of this political?
See, every notification, given by the government or any orders passed by the government, they will always have a political intention, right? India being run by political leaders, so to say, the government formed by them. So you cannot say that they do not have hands. You cannot deny that, yes.
Okay.
In fact, like I said, just to extend this, like I said, in other states, the law and order problem arises when people put stickers based on caste, based on religion. But in Nagaland, in fact, a vehicle carrying, the name of the church, or a buses carrying the name of a church, in fact, promotes peace and harmony. I have a very good example also. This beginning of the year, you were also there. We went for a church recreation program, right?
Yes.
Somewhere in the Taroka, that was towards the Marise village. We went for a picnic cum recreational activity with the church, and it's a picnic spot. It is open for everyone. So we went with this pastor's car. We had a pass which was very big, written Sangam Baptist Church pass, like that. And when we reached the spot, there were also one group who were already there.
Yeah.
And they were also picnicking, right? Merrymaking.
Yeah.
And some of them were indulging in alcohol also. Of course, none of our problem.
Yes.
But the moment they saw us coming, they recognized us through those vehicles only, through those big churches, buses. And they maintained their decorum after seeing those logos and, church stickers. So in fact, having those stickers and logos and churches affiliations, in fact, further promotes peace and harmony in Nagaland. There is no way it will create law and order problem in a state like Nagaland.